Hey, hey, we're talking about breaking the habit of being yourself and stop being triggered. Now, triggers are so fascinating brain wise because basically your brain is just linking something and making a determination about it. So, let's talk about that with the amazing brain trainer and upper level practitioner, Rita Wood.
What are we talking about? Triggers?
Trigger.
You just triggered me. Sometimes what happens is, you get asked a question or you get put on the spot and your mind goes blank or your knees start to buckle, or a trigger can look and sound however it is that you do it inside. We have this thing we call your internal process. So how are you internally processing? Something happens and the brain brings information, probably from the past, and says, that makes me sad, mad, ugly, betrayed, abandoned, whatever it is. And so we call it a trigger. It's like the go-to for the brain. It's the
Right.
code of operation. So a trigger can be changed, right?
Yeah.
What you earlier, it's like, do you want to cause chaos in your relationship? No. Do you want to cause ill health in your body? No. So we need to address those triggers. And somehow, I don't know where it is, Tammy, but I feel like we justify our triggers. Like,
Right.
It's a badge of honor. Like, he triggered me or she triggered me, and therefore I'm justified in hurting my body,
Right.
my loved ones. So triggers are the opposite of a trigger is an anchor. So you can actually use a person as an anchor. You can use a loved one, a vacation as an anchor, because that also works towards your benefit. Do you want to talk about anchors, or do we want to keep talking about triggers?
Well, just think of, trigger. I hear a lot of people talk about triggers being a button pushed. Okay. So I think we've talked about this before, but it's just important to know that that button is inside of you. It's internal. So who gets to have control over what's inside of us? We do. So I want you to feel empowered that these triggers and these buttons and these associations that the brain linked together, the brain just said, you know what? Somebody got yelled at. This person got angry. I guess when you get yelled at, you should get angry, file those things together, put them away. And then when you get yelled at, boom, you get angry. So you learned that somewhere. And then that trigger was there. And then the buttons pushed, and then you have that same kind of reaction. So the better way is to anchor, or that an anchor can do the same thing as a button, only you're going to tell your brain to feel good, think good, be good, because we know that anything that's inside of our body is affecting us personally. Okay. And then of course it comes out and affects everybody else. So what does Robert Smith say? He says, be kind to yourself, be
good to yourself,
be kind to yourself, love yourself.
Because what you're doing inside, you're also doing it to other people.
That's right.
Your loved ones mostly. And I think for me, when you're flooded by emotions, frustrations, you're like beside yourself. You don't even know what to do. You're livid, right? Discolored with anger. You're livid. And so what do you do? And this is what totally turned me on about the work that we do. And we're Ask the Brain Trainers, guys. We are your Faster EFT women, and we love this work. And so and the technique is inside the description. It's called the Stop Stress Technique. Stop Stress Technique. So you want to download that. You want to print it out. You want to put it in your refrigerator. You want to put it in your car, wherever it is that you get triggered. If you need to put it in the front door because your wife's coming in and your husband's coming in, those are 5 steps that you can follow to start breaking the pattern, breaking the neural connections. Or you can go meditate for 10 hours and try
to meditate.
Try
that when you're triggered.
Or you can go eat a bag of chips and donuts because you deserve it, right? So do something different, break those trances, break those patterns. And so if you're triggered, if you have something, you feel something, you hear something, and you're just like, you just do the technique, print it out, do the technique. We also send you a little video that tells you how to use it, when to use it, and why to use it.
Here's something, guys, when you're triggered, that means that somebody made you angry. You know that they did something that they shouldn't have. That's why it bothers you, right? They did something that bothers you. You think they shouldn't do it. You have a judgment of what you think they should or shouldn't do. However, what you do to yourself is worse than what they're doing to you. Mm-hmm. Now, listen to me. What you're doing to yourself is worse than what they do to you. So in other words, they did something, you were triggered, and then your own anger, your own hate, your own judgment, your own rage or wrath or disgust, it's inside your body. Now you're doing that to you.
Right.
Don't do that to yourself. You are worthy. You are worth more than that. And so the whole purpose of having a physical body is to treat it as best as you can, right? Like feel good most of the time.
Yeah. And how you do that is by doing the stop technique, the stress technique. And also what I want to say is, listen, like we've been there. We flew off the handle, whatever that means. That's a metaphor. You know, we have hurts. We get it. We get it that our brain somewhere in time decided that would be the safest thing for us to do. Anger is the safest thing to do. So you think you should be angry, which is great. And it helps you react and helps you survive that moment, that time, that space. But now it's excess. You said something earlier. It was really, really profound that I can't remember. It was so profound. But so the thing is, it's time to update. It's time to update the brain, update the information, update the memories that have you stuck in a reality that you no longer want, because it will show up in an uglier pair of shoes. Your anger will show up. Your triggers will show up. The more you fess, the more you piss, the more you moan and groan.
Complain.
Yeah. And
you're miserable.
Yeah.
Now who's making you miserable?
Yeah.
You.
And not only that, but we attract people just like that, or we become that. There are bosses, there are spouses, there are partners, or
teachers,
they're
kids,
our children. So I enjoy talking about this, and I know you can break the habit of being yourself and stop being triggered. And make a decision now, commit now, get 10 times more excited when you get triggered, get 10 times more excited, and then do the technique that we put down below. Okay.
Yes. And if you're not excited, then do some star jacks, jumping jacks. Woohoo! Yeses. Like start giving your body a whole different idea of what a trigger is. Like that's the time to get
happy. What it represents. There's different ways for different strokes for different folks. So this is one way to handle that trigger. We have thousands of ways of how to handle the triggers, and all you need to do is find the one that works for you.
That's right. That's all
so
you
keep
need.
listening to us, because you'll find words of wisdom. You'll be like, oh yeah, I can do that, and I know how to do that, and you will get more strength, more power, more dignity. You're honoring yourself. And look, we have stories. I think a lot of the stuff that we wear a badge is that something happened. We made it mean something. We made it mean something about us. We don't deserve it. We don't want it. We have it. Whatever. And we collapse that like that is us. It is not us. It's an event that occurred, and we're judging it, assessing it, criticizing it,
and hurting us.
So anyways, love being here. Hope you got value.
Like, share, and comment below. Tell us what works for your triggers. Like, what are you finding that is better than letting yourself be triggered by that?
Yeah.
All right.
Not so much what are your triggers, because look, we can do a laundry list of she triggers, that trigger, that trigger.
Oh yeah.
Well, you want to make a laundry list of how can I break that trigger? Yep. Print it out, print the technique down, and you find ways that you can break out of that trance.
Yeah. And share that with us.
Yeah, share that with us.